Marcus Hale was a human soldier posted on the alien world of Verex, a place of tall silver towers, floating bridges, and glowing blue skies. Every visitor felt amazed when they first arrived. Every visitor except Marcus. While other humans laughed, explored markets, and enjoyed alien food, Marcus walked like a silent shadow. He kept his head down. He stayed away from people. He avoided gatherings, conversations, and attention. But the one person he avoided most was Princess Lyra of Verex. Princess Lyra was known across her world. She was strong, intelligent, and graceful. Her golden markings glowed softly under sunlight, and her voice held authority even when she whispered. Everyone respected her. Everyone listened to her. Everyone, except one human, Marcus. She noticed him almost immediately. Whenever she entered a room, Marcus stepped back. Whenever she approached the guards, Marcus found a reason to walk away. When she greeted the human soldiers, Marcus saluted quickly and moved aside like he was afraid of something. At first, Lyra thought he was simply shy. Humans were new to Verex after all. But after a week, it felt too strange to ignore. Why was one soldier avoiding her like she carried a deadly disease? Why did he look at the floor whenever she tried to speak? Why did his eyes show fear whenever she turned toward him? Lyra grew curious. The more he avoided her, the more she wanted answers. Marcus was not unaware of her attention. He felt her eyes on him many times. But every time she came near, a cold wave crawled up his spine. He did not hate the princess. In truth, he admired her leadership. But admiration was dangerous for a man like him. Getting close to people brought danger. It always had. So he stayed distant. One morning, the Verex Council held an important meeting. Humans and Verexians sat together around a long crystal table. Marcus stood at the back with the guards. Princess Lyra entered the chamber, and the glowing decorations on her clothes shimmered like stars. Everyone bowed. Marcus bowed too, but took 2 steps backward afterward. Lyra's eyes locked on him for a moment. Something passed between them. Not anger. Not confusion. Something deeper. Something questioning. Then the council leader made an announcement. For the coming week, Princess Lyra would be visiting different human Verex research centers. And for her safety, she required a human escort. Every soldier waited eagerly to hear who would receive the honor. The leader cleared his throat. The chosen human guard is Marcus Hale. Marcus's heart dropped. The other soldiers looked shocked. Some smiled at him. Some clapped his shoulder. But Marcus felt numb. Of all the humans, why him? Why now? Why her? Lyra glanced at him again, studying his expression. His eyes were wide, his jaw tight, his breath heavy. He looked like a man sentenced to death. Interesting, she thought. After the meeting, Marcus tried to speak with his commander, hoping to request a reassignment. But before he reached him, the princess stepped in front of Marcus and blocked his path. "You will guard me," she said softly. Marcus froze. He nodded, unable to speak. Lyra tilted her head. "Why do you fear me, human?" Marcus's throat tightened. He wanted to answer. He wanted to say that he did not fear her, but what followed him everywhere he went. But words refused to come. He simply bowed and turned away. Lyra watched him walk off quickly. That was no normal fear. That was something deeper. Something older. Something painful. Later that evening, Marcus walked alone through the quiet palace halls. The lights were dim, and his footsteps echoed across the marble floor. His mind was full of memories he wished he could erase, memories of fire, blood, and shadows moving in the dark. He had survived things no one should ever face. And he carried the weight of those memories like chains. Princess Lyra. She was kind. She was curious. She was innocent of his past. If he stayed close to her, danger might follow. It always did. That was why he kept his distance. That was why he planned to request reassignment. That was why he turned away from her again and again. But fate did not care about his plans. Just as he reached a quiet corridor, the palace alarm suddenly roared through the halls. Red lights flashed everywhere. A deep vibrating siren shook the floor. Guards shouted orders. Robots activated shields. Marcus's instincts reacted before his mind did. He grabbed his weapon and scanned the ceiling, the shadows, the vents, every place something could hide. He had felt this before. This exact tension. This exact fear. This exact smell in the air. No one else reacted as quickly as he did. And Princess Lyra, standing on a balcony above, noticed it. She rushed down, calling his name. Marcus! What is happening? Why are you ready to fight before anyone knows the threat? Marcus did not answer. His eyes remained fixed on the dark corner of the ceiling, where something moved, a shape no one else noticed yet. Lyra followed his gaze. Her heart froze. Something was there. Something alive. Something watching Marcus. And Marcus whispered under his breath, "Not again." Lyra felt a chill run through her bones. What was Marcus hiding? Why did danger appear when he was near her? And what monster was watching them from the shadows now? The princess's curiosity turned into fear, and her fear turned into determination. She would learn the truth. Even if the truth was darker than she expected. The alarms kept ringing through the palace, and red lights flashed across every wall. Soldiers ran in different directions, unsure of the danger. But Marcus Hale did not move. He stood perfectly still, staring at the dark corner in the ceiling where the strange shape hid. His body was tense, ready to fight or die. Princess Lyra rushed down the stairs toward him. Her golden markings glowed brighter with worry. She knew fear. She had seen it in war briefings, in injured soldiers, in refugees seeking help. But the fear on Marcus's face was different. It was not the fear of danger, it was the fear of memory. "Marcus," she said, trying to steady her breath, "tell me what is happening." He didn't blink. He didn't speak. His hand slowly tightened around his weapon. Lyra stepped closer, ignoring the guards calling for her to stay back. She placed herself directly in front of Marcus, forcing him to look at her. "You saw this before, didn't you?" she whispered. "You knew something was coming." Marcus's jaw clenched. His voice came out low and rough. "Princess, you need to leave." Lyra shook her head. "Not until you tell me why you avoid me. Why you fear me. Why you act like danger follows you." Marcus swallowed hard. "Because it does." Before Lyra could ask more, a loud metallic scrape echoed above them. Something crawled inside the ventilation shafts, fast, sharp, hunting. Lyra's breath caught. Marcus stepped in front of her instantly, shielding her with his body. "Stay behind me," he said. He was no longer the quiet, distant soldier. He moved like a trained predator, eyes scanning every shadow, every sound. Lyra felt her heart pounding. She had seen many human soldiers, but none like Marcus. The way he moved was too precise, too practiced. Like someone who had spent years living in fear. Like someone who had survived things no one else could. Suddenly, a thin metal vent above them bent outward, as if something inside pushed against it. The guards raised their weapons, shouting commands. Marcus whispered, "Too slow." The vent exploded downward. A creature dropped from the ceiling, tall, thin, covered in dark silver skin. Its limbs were long like blades. Its eyes glowed with a hungry blue light. The guards fired immediately, but the creature moved too fast, dodging every shot. Lyra gasped. She had read about these things in old military reports. But she had never seen one alive. A lurker. A creature created to track and kill targets silently. A creature believed extinct. Why was it here? Marcus didn't wait for answers. He grabbed the princess by the arm and pulled her behind a column as the creature slashed through a guard like tearing paper. The other guards panicked, firing wildly. Lyra clutched Marcus's sleeve. "How did you know?" No one else sensed it. Marcus didn't look at her. His eyes stayed locked on the creature. "Because it's not after anyone else," he said. "It's after me." Lyra's chest tightened. "After you? Why?" Marcus finally answered her question, the one she had asked for days. "Because I used to be one of their targets," he said. "And they never forget a scent." Lyra stared at him, shocked. "Scent? You mean?" "They were trained to hunt me." The creature screeched and leaped toward them. Marcus shoved Lyra aside and rolled across the floor, firing 3 shots into the creature's chest. The shots pushed it back but didn't kill it. It snarled, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. Lyra watched Marcus fight with movements she had never seen before. He was faster than a normal soldier. Stronger. Always one step ahead of the creature. This was no ordinary human guard. The creature lunged again. Marcus slammed his boot into its head, grabbed a fallen guard's energy blade, and sliced across its arm. The creature shrieked and staggered. Marcus grabbed Lyra's hand. "We need to move," he said. They ran through the crystal hallway as alarms continued blaring. The creature chased them, crashing through walls, tearing through alien crystal like paper. Robots tried to slow it down but failed. Everything the princess relied on for security was useless. But Marcus was not useless. He dragged her into a side chamber and sealed the door. Lyra leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "Now tell me everything," she said. "Why are these things after you? What have you been hiding?" Marcus looked at the floor. His voice was barely above a whisper. "Princess, humans have many secrets. Some dark. Some cruel. The program I was part of, it used people like me as bait. To train these creatures. To test their hunting abilities." Lyra's eyes widened. "That is horrible." "I escaped," Marcus said quietly. "But those creatures, they remember. They track what they were trained to hunt. And now one of them has found me here." Lyra stepped closer, her voice softer. "This is why you stayed away from me." Marcus nodded. "If I stay distant, people stay safe. If I get close, they die." Before Lyra could reply, the chamber door bent inward. The creature was breaking through. Lyra grabbed Marcus's arm. "We face it together." Marcus stared at her, shocked. No one had ever said those words to him before. The door snapped open. The creature roared. Lyra tightened her grip. Marcus raised his weapon. And the real hunt began. The chamber door shattered into pieces as the creature pushed its way inside. Marcus pulled Princess Lyra behind him, ready to fight, but the creature did something unexpected. It didn't attack immediately. Instead, it sniffed the air, slow, long, and hungry. It was searching for Marcus. Its glowing eyes locked on him, ignoring every other life around it. Lyra noticed this and whispered, "It truly wants only you." Marcus didn't answer. He lunged forward, slashing the creature's neck with the energy blade. But the wound closed almost instantly. The creature screeched and smashed Marcus into the wall. Lyra gasped and ran to him, but Marcus pushed her back. "Stay behind me," he shouted. The creature crawled across the ceiling like a spider and jumped again, but this time Marcus dodged and stabbed it in the eye. The creature howled and stumbled, giving Marcus a precious second. He grabbed Lyra's hand. "We need to get to the command center. Now!" They ran through the hallway as the creature roared behind them. The palace guards finally regrouped and tried to stop it, but the lurker ripped through them like they were toys. Every second they stayed, more guards fell. Marcus and Lyra burst into the main lift, and the doors closed just as the creature's claws slashed across the glass. Lyra turned to Marcus, shaken. "If one creature can cause this much chaos, how many more are out there?" Marcus's face turned pale. "If one found me, more will follow." Lyra swallowed hard. "How many?" Marcus hesitated, but she demanded, "Tell me." "At least 100, Marcus whispered. "Maybe more." Before the princess could react, the lift stopped at the command center. The doors opened to reveal dozens of high-ranking Verex officials staring at a massive holographic display. Red markers blinked across space, hundreds of them. Lyra stepped forward, stunned. "Explain this. Why are there enemy signals near our orbit?" A general bowed deeply. Princess, we detected unknown ships heading toward Verex. We counted 500. Lyra's heart dropped. 500 warships. Yes, Princess. An entire fleet. Marcus felt his blood run cold. No, it can't be. Lyra turned to him. Marcus, do you know who they are? He nodded slowly, painfully. They are the creators of the lurkers. They trained them, controlled them, sent them. If they're here, it means they're calling their hunters back. Lyra stared at him in shock. Calling them back? For what purpose? Marcus looked directly into her eyes. To retrieve their target. Lyra realized the truth. The target is you. Marcus nodded. The room fell silent. Everyone felt the weight of his words. Marcus continued, voice low. My scent is burned into their minds. Their systems. Their training. They follow me across galaxies. I thought I escaped them forever, but they found me. And now they brought a fleet. The generals panicked. We cannot fight 500 warships. Princess, we must evacuate. Lyra lifted her hand sharply. No. We do not run. Not until we understand their goal. Marcus shook his head. Their goal is simple. Capture me. Destroy anything that protects me. Lyra looked at him with a strange mix of fear and determination. Then why not give them what they want? Marcus stared at her, stunned. Princess, you don't understand. If I go with them, I die. Slowly. Painfully. They will use me again. Train their monsters on me again. Torture me again. Lyra felt her chest tighten. She stepped closer. You think I would let that happen? Marcus looked away. You should. It would save your people. Lyra's markings glowed brighter. No. Your life is not a bargaining piece. Marcus opened his mouth to argue, but suddenly a loud alarm echoed through the command center. Princess, a guard shouted. Something is entering the atmosphere. Everyone turned to the main screen. A massive dark shape cut through the clouds, dropping straight toward the palace. It wasn't a warship. It wasn't a fighter. It was a pod. A drop pod big enough to hold dozens of lurkers. Lyra whispered, they're deploying them directly onto Verex. Marcus grabbed a weapon. They're not invading the planet. They're invading the palace. They know I'm here. The pod slammed into the ground outside with a thunderous crash. The lights flickered. The ground shook violently. The outside cameras showed the pod opening like a giant metal flower. Inside were 15 lurkers. All of them stepped out. All of them lifted their heads. All of them sniffed the air. And all of them turned their glowing eyes toward the palace. Toward Marcus. Lyra stepped in front of him. They will not take you. Marcus froze. No one had ever stood in front of him like that. No one had ever protected him. Lyra continued, if 500 warships come for one human, then that human must be more important than you believe. Marcus shook his head weakly. I'm not important. I'm the opposite. I'm dangerous. Lyra's voice softened. You are only dangerous because you were hurt. But your pain is not a curse. It is a warning. And I hear it, Marcus Hale. Before Marcus could respond, the palace walls shook again. The lurkers had begun climbing the outer towers. Hundreds more pods were falling from the sky. The invasion was just beginning. The command center filled with fear, but Marcus felt something else rising inside him. A choice. A choice he never expected to have. To run again. Or to finally fight back. And this time, not alone. The palace ground shook again as another drop pod smashed into the courtyard. The sound echoed through the command center like a giant hammer hitting the planet. Princess Lyra looked at the screens. More lurkers crawled out of the wreckage, their bodies moving like twisted shadows under the red sky. Some climbed towers, others sprinted toward the palace gates. But all of them had one goal. Find Marcus Hale. The generals shouted orders, soldiers ran, the security systems activated, but nothing stopped the advancing creatures. They were too fast, too smart, too hungry. Lyra turned to Marcus. "We must move." Marcus nodded, but inside he felt something breaking. The lurkers had found him again. They always found him. And now an entire alien world was in danger because of him. He pressed a hand against the wall, trying to steady his heartbeat. "Princess, if we stay together, they will kill you. You must go to the safe bunker with your council." Lyra stepped closer, her voice firm. "No." Marcus blinked. "Princess, this is not a suggestion." "And my answer," Lyra interrupted, "is still no." Her golden eyes burned with stubborn light. Marcus had never seen anyone defy danger like this, especially not for him. She walked right up to him, almost chest to chest. "You think distance keeps people safe. But running has not saved you. It has only made you alone." Marcus stiffened. Her words hit deeper than any blade. Lyra continued, softer now. "Even if you leave, they will still follow. They will follow you across planets. Across systems. Across galaxies." Marcus looked down. "I know." Lyra shook her head. "Then don't run. Not this time. Fight with us. Let us stand beside you." Marcus stared at her. No one had ever offered that. Not once. Not ever. Before he could answer, a violent blast shook the building. The command center glass cracked, and the emergency lights flashed. The screens showed lurkers breaking through the palace gates, tearing through metal as if it were cloth. A general yelled, "Princess! Evacuate! The walls will not hold." Lyra didn't move. Instead, she grabbed Marcus's arm tightly. "Your life has value. Your past does not define your future. Fight with me." Marcus's breath trembled, not from fear, but from something he had forgotten humans could feel. Hope. Suddenly, the ceiling vent above them bent outward with a sharp metallic scream. Everyone looked up. A lurker dropped into the room, landing only a few steps from Marcus and Lyra. Chaos erupted. Guards fired. The creature dodged every shot, snarling, hunting, tracking. It ignored the generals, ignored the guards. It only had eyes for Marcus. Lyra pulled Marcus back, but Marcus pushed her behind him. "Stay down." The lurker charged. Marcus grabbed a fallen guard's pulse rifle and fired directly into its chest. The blast flung it across the room. But instead of falling, it twisted its body unnaturally and stood again, smiling with its needle teeth. Marcus whispered, "They're stronger now." Lyra stood, electricity crackling across her palms. Her species could channel energy during battle, a gift of the Virexian royal bloodline. She lifted her hands. "Marcus, move." A blinding surge of white energy burst from her, striking the creature and pinning it against the wall. The lurker screeched in pain. The air vibrated. Sparks flew everywhere. Marcus looked at her in shock. "Princess, you could have killed me too." Lyra smirked. "I trusted you to duck." The creature broke free, furious. It leaped toward them again. Marcus grabbed Lyra and rolled across the floor as the lurker's claws stabbed the ground where they had been standing. Marcus stood quickly, blocking the princess with his body. "We need heavier weapons." A guard slid a plasma launcher across the floor. Marcus grabbed it, powered it up, and fired. The blast smashed the lurker into the ceiling, burning half its body. It fell to the floor, dead. Silence filled the room for 1 second. Then the external alarms screamed again. A soldier rushed in. "Princess! 37 more lurkers are inside the palace." Marcus clenched his fist. "They're coming faster than before. They must be using me as a beacon." Lyra turned to him sharply. "Then we break the beacon." Marcus stared. "What do you mean?" Lyra stepped closer, lowering her voice. "We find their signal source. The thing that connects them to you. And we destroy it." Marcus blinked. "Princess, you want to enter the battlefield?" Lyra smirked slightly. I am a princess, not a prisoner. And this is my world. Marcus shook his head. No. This is too dangerous. You could die. You should leave. Lyra looked at him with calm, bright eyes. Marcus, if you die, my world still falls. If I die, my people still fight. But if you surrender, all of us lose. Marcus opened his mouth, but couldn't speak. Because she was right. She reached out and gently touched his hand. You are not a burden. You are not a curse. You are a survivor. And survivors do not run, they rise. A loud, crushing noise echoed down the hall. The lurkers were close. Very close. The walls rattled as claws scraped against metal. Marcus took a deep breath. Princess, stay behind me. No matter what. Lyra nodded. Only if you stay beside me. Marcus lifted his weapon. Lyra powered her glowing palms. The hallway doors exploded inward. Dozens of lurkers charged into the room. Marcus and Lyra stood together. For the first time. Ready to fight. The real battle had begun. The lurkers burst into the command center like a wave of living blades. Their claws scraped across crystal floors as they sprinted toward Marcus and Princess Lyra. The guards fired desperately, but the creatures dodged every shot with terrifying speed. Marcus stepped forward, raising his weapon. Lyra stayed close behind him, her palms glowing with bright Phyrexian energy. For a moment, everything slowed. Marcus felt the weight of every decision he had made in his life. Running. Hiding. Staying distant. Hurting alone. Not anymore. He braced himself and fired the plasma launcher. The blast tore through the front line of lurkers, scattering them. Lyra followed with a pulse of white energy, knocking several more off their feet. But dozens remained, circling, calculating. Marcus shouted, "Stay behind me." Lyra answered, "Not this time." She stepped beside him, equal, fearless. The lurkers attacked again. Marcus spun, firing the launcher until it overheated. He switched to an energy blade and slashed through a lurker's chest. Lyra unleashed another surge of light, her eyes glowing with fierce determination. The creature nearest her shrieked and dissolved into dust. The command center shook violently as more lurkers climbed inside from broken windows. Marcus's voice dropped. "They won't stop. Not until they reach me." Lyra breathed heavily. "Then we take the fight outside." Before Marcus could argue, the ceiling above them cracked, and a heavy metal object crashed into the floor, sending debris everywhere. Both of them shielded their faces. The dust cleared. A hologram shimmered inside the wreckage. Not of a man. Not of a woman. Not of anything Lyra recognized. A towering alien figure appeared, dark, mechanical, with a voice like grinding stone. It spoke directly to Marcus. Subject 17. You cannot escape your function. Lyra looked at Marcus sharply. Subject 17? What does that mean? Marcus's hands shook. He didn't want to answer. Not now. Not here. But Lyra's eyes demanded truth. The alien voice continued, "Return yourself to the fleet. Or we will claim you by force." Marcus felt his heart twist. His past had finally caught him. Lyra stepped between Marcus and the hologram. "He is not your property. He is a soldier under Verex's protection." The hologram turned its head toward her. "This organism belongs to us." "Organism?" Lyra repeated, confused. "He is human." The hologram paused as if amused. "Human? His body may appear human. But the core inside him is not." Lyra froze. Marcus looked away, ashamed. The hologram continued, "Subject 17 contains a tracking node created by us. We placed it in his body when he was a child. That node calls our hunters. It calls our ships." Lyra's eyes widened. A tracking node, inside him. Marcus whispered, "I never knew. They always kept me drugged, experimented, hurt. I escaped before they finished their plans. but something stayed inside me. Lyra felt a cold shock run through her veins. All this time, you thought you were cursed. But it wasn't you. It was something forced on you. Marcus closed his eyes. This is why I avoided you. If people stay close to me, they die. Lyra touched his arm gently. Marcus, you were not the danger. You were the victim. Before Marcus could respond, the hologram gave its final warning. Return. Subject 17. Or this world will fall. The hologram vanished. Silence fell, but only for a moment. Outside the window, the sky turned black. Hundreds of warships moved into position, blocking out the sun. Lyra whispered, "They're preparing to fire." Marcus grabbed her shoulders. "Princess, listen to me. Let them take me." Lyra shook her head violently. "No. If you go, they will torture you again. They will kill you." Marcus looked into her eyes. "Better me than your entire planet." Lyra's eyes filled with emotion. "You think you are alone. You think no one will fight for you. But you're wrong." She stepped closer, almost touching her forehead to his. "You matter," she whispered. "To me. To this world. To the future." Marcus's breath trembled. It was the first time anyone had ever said those words to him. Suddenly, a piercing tremor shook the ground. The lurkers backed away and climbed the walls, retreating. Lyra frowned. "Why are they leaving?" Marcus looked at the ceiling. "They're not leaving. They are regrouping." A deep humming sound filled the air. A strange blue glow spread across the walls. Lyra's voice shook. "What is that?" Marcus swallowed hard. "They're activating their planet killer beam. They don't want to negotiate. They want to erase Verex." Lyra turned to him desperately. "Then what do we do?" Marcus clenched his weapon. "The node inside me. It's broadcasting my location. If we shut it down, the warships won't have a reason to attack the planet." Lyra grabbed his hand tightly. "Then we find it. And we destroy it." Marcus shook his head. "Princess, removing it could kill me." Lyra looked straight into his eyes. "Then we take that risk together." Marcus stared at her, stunned. All his life he believed distance kept people safe. But she was proving something else. Sometimes closeness saves the world. Before they could speak again, the palace shook violently. A massive shadow covered the entire city. A beam began forming at the center of the enemy flagship. Lyra gripped Marcus's hand. "Marcus, tell me the truth. Why did you avoid me all this time?" His voice broke. "Because you made me feel alive again, and I was afraid of losing that." Lyra's breath caught. She did not expect that answer. The sky lit up with deadly light. And the beam fired. Cut to black.